Hello, this is Winston Cunningham, and it is April 20th, 2026. And today I'd like to talk about you will see what you are prepared to see. I am busy preparing myself to see what I need to see to prepare myself for the best part of my life that's coming up. And I've learned, chiefly starting with the School of Metaphysics, who taught me how to pay attention, the key word being pay. I always thought I was paying attention, but until you start doing concentration exercises, you don't really know how you're using your attention. You really don't. So concentration exercises, meditation, visualization, there are many things you can do that will condition you to prepare yourself to see what you need to see. And we will see, wow there, we will see what we are prepared to see. And I've seen this over and over again. We can wallow around in the blindness, or we can open our eyes. And the way you open your eyes is to pay attention. Jesus said it very clearly. If thine eye be single, the body will be full of light. Now, light represents awareness. And when I'm using undivided attention, I can feel every cell in my body come alive. So I know what Jesus was talking about. But I didn't find it in church or school. I found it in here with some proper instruction of how to look. And what I'm doing now and what I've been doing for the last 40 years is just looking a little bit deeper. And now I'm going deeper than I've ever been, and it's awesome what I'm finding out. So it's all the good stuff is buried deep. That's one of my talks. I've talked about a lot of different aspects of this same. It's the search as you may want to read the book by Dr. Gail Mathis, Search for the Kingdom of Heaven. She was a doctor when I was studying at the school, and she was at a lot of the teachers' meetings, and I got a whole lot from this lady, a whole lot. In fact, it was her that showed me something special at when you're at the campground. I was already out of the school, and I'd gone back for the camp out year or so after I dropped out. So I've and working through all my feelings and so forth. But it was, she would remember this, and no one else knew about it. But she appreciated me, so she showed me something special. And I've always appreciated her. Just an amazing, amazing woman. And she's no longer associated with the school, but she gave a whole lot to the school. And I know wherever she is now, she's given a whole lot to whoever she's coming in contact with, I can assure you. But read her book. It's a part of a book. There were 4 books written, one by Dr. Jerry Rothenmel, Dr. Daniel Condren, Dr. Barbara Rothenmel, and then also Dr. Gail Mathis. And they combined these 4 books into one book. It's called the Bible in dream symbols. So you get 4 books in one, and you can, if you look for a used copy, you can get it real cheap, and you'll have a gold mine here. Jerry Rothmel was the first one that I know of that interpreted the Bible in language of mind. And Daniel Condren brought into this lifetime an understanding of language of mind, and that's one of his chief duties this time is to teach the world the language of mind, or share his understanding of language of mind. And what I'm doing here is sharing my understanding of whatever it is that I know. And that's what these doctors do, and I appreciate all of them. And there was Dr. Connie Rothmel. She only wrote 1 book, but she offered, and it was about auras. But she was my field director for a while, and I appreciate her too. But anyway, what I want to talk about today is how to see, or how to prepare yourself to see. And we can stay busy, trying. When we give up trying, then we can relax into seeing and possibly being. And that's one of my talks, to be or not to be. I finally understood that phrase. What he meant when he said it, I'm not sure, but it was, Shakespeare wrote some profound things. I've got a teacher who taught English in high school, and she taught a lot of Shakespeare stuff. I never did get real deep into English. I'm still learning English. People sometimes want me to learn another language, and I say, no, I'm still working on English. And Jerry Rothmel admitted that he had a pretty firm grasp on the English language. And boy, he when he wrote the lesson, some of his sentences were a paragraph long. I mean, a long paragraph in one sentence. So he was, and I think that was part of encouraging us to pay attention. He was amazing, and he was the first one to receive a doctorate at this school. And of course, he was credited with being the founder of the school. He didn't like to take credit for it, but in fact, I was bragging on him one time about giving him a compliment about what he put together and everything, and he looked at me and said, "I haven't had an original idea in my life." So he didn't want to take credit for none of that. He said he didn't want to hang on no cross. That was his sense of humor. He was an amazing person. All of these people were amazing, and I appreciate every one of them. And now, Daniel Condren is carried on, and Barbara Condren, and also there was a handful of doctors when I was there, and now there's a lot more, and that's good to see. That's really good to see, because it's growing, and it's not growing by there's not a vast number studying at the school, but there's a quality number. The people there are serious, and they're quality. And they are in turn passing on what they've come to understand, which is vast. They're there to aid other students in expanding their own consciousness. It's an amazing process. And I've been expanding my consciousness for the last 40 years, and for right now, I've reached a point to where I didn't know I ever get to this, but I like it. And I'm feel good about where I am. Feel good. There's a lot more to see. How much more? I don't have an idea. But I'll tell you what, it's once I began to understand the process and really accept the process, I'm enjoying it immensely. And it's, I'd like to invite everybody to be here. Not here with me, but here being within your own self. And I did a talk recently about listening within, because that's the greatest value you find is from listening within. And it is in preparing yourself to see. If you listen to my talk on the question is everything. I mean, everything in the sense that it is a stimulus that causes your own soul to respond. And as you learn to listen within, you begin to get this response from your own soul that has been offered to you all along. You just haven't heard it. Or you may have thought it was God talking or somebody else. But it's your own soul talking to you. And let me encourage you, go listen to my talk on dreams, and I encourage you to go to the Dream School webinar to learn how to interpret your dreams and the importance of dreams. Invest an hour a week going to the Dream School webinar on Wednesday nights. You can look it up on peacedome.org. You can find the details there. And it's an amazing program. So dreams is just an example of how we can prepare ourselves to see. Through dreams, you'll get messages from your own soul. That's the way your soul talks to you, is in pictures. It is in the conscious mind we get caught up in the words. And this is where religion, I started to say fosters or festers. It's all the same. It depends on how a person... I grew up in church, and it was rare for me to see anyone who was really plugged in. I knew what it was to be plugged in when I was young, but I didn't understand it until I got to the School of Metaphysics and got some proper instruction. All I got through church is, well, you should do this, you shouldn't do that. I didn't get much from that. I'm getting a lot now from listening within and preparing myself to receive what it is that I want to have, the capabilities that I'm uncovering. Everyone on this planet is as capable as they ever can imagine themselves being. But you don't see that if you're caught up in just what comes through the five senses: the taste, touch, smell, sound, and there's one more. I always miss one, but you know what I'm talking about. As long as you're disillusioned by the five senses only, then you remain confused. And the way past this confusion is to develop the ability to focus, which is to learn to concentrate. And concentration exercises are very tedious and must be done daily for a long period of time. but it does pay off. Concentration exercises every day for a good while. And once you develop this, it's like to get something started. It's like when I first started driving cars, and they weren't as sophisticated as they are today. And you'd have a car die once in a while, and you and whoever's with you would get out and push it. Well, to get it going, and of course they were stick shift, and you could get it going, and somebody would get in and pop the clutch, and it would start. And that's the way you would start it. But it takes a lot of energy to push the car to get it rolling. And once you have it rolling, as long as you keep moving, it doesn't take as much energy to keep it going. But if you stop, you got to start all over again. And so starting over, I could do a talk on starting over, because I've started over more times than I can count. And now I just accept the fact that every day is starting over. Because what I have come to up to this time is good. But I know there's more, and I want more. I want to understand myself more. I understand myself a lot better than I did 40 years ago. And therefore, I understand other people better than I did 40 years ago. Because one thing I found out for sure is that once you identify something in yourself, you'll recognize it anywhere. Anywhere. So looking within prepares you for anything else that you want to do. So preparing myself I may have a question for a long period of time, but I don't hear the answer. I don't see what I need to see until I am sufficiently prepared. And pretty regularly, I'll run across somebody who is been saved, so to speak, and they think that they've got everything, and so they'll no matter what you say, they'll say, yeah, but this is the way it is, and they're kind of stuck at the animal level of thinking. They're not really, they refuse to take in any more information other than what they have. So it's difficult to speak with a person who is not open to receive anything above what they already have. And it is my job to prepare myself to hear something or to see something that I need to see, but that I have yet to see. I need to see it, but I have yet to see it. And I will see it only when I reach the point to where preparation meets opportunity. That's somebody's definition of luck. It just come to me. Which luck, there's no such thing, but it is where preparation meets opportunity. That's a good way that's just coming to me now, because it's part of what I'm talking about, is preparing yourself to understand. And to understand ourselves is the only reason we're here. Each experience allows us an opportunity to learn just a little bit more. And there's more than a little bit to you. There's like 100, as I understand it, there's 144,000 different things, different ways of thinking that we need to understand. And each experience, will deal with at least one of those. So paying attention to your experience is vital. It's very important. It's really the only way you can see truth. You can hear something, you can read something, it may sound good, but until you experience it, there's no way to know it. If you can remember when you were a child and you saw other people riding a bicycle, and you say, well, I wish I could do that. But in here somewhere you were saying, well, I see other people doing it, so I probably can too. But until a child gets on the bicycle, they don't know. And I remember my first trip on a bicycle going down the hill at the house. It was all 50, 75 yards to the mailbox. And there was a slope going down the hill from our house to the road, and the mailbox was across the road. And my first trip on the bicycle was, I hadn't given any thought to how to stop this thing. And so I stopped when I hit the mailbox. That's experience. But I knew I could ride a bicycle. It's just that there was more to learn than what... I've got a friend here at the campground that just got her an e-bike. She's without an automobile, so it's an e-bike. She just bought it, and she had me follow her one day, like she wanted some practice, but she didn't want to be out in the midst and wanted some backup behind her. So I followed her in my car, had my flashers on. But she got like 2 or 3 blocks, and I could see she was struggling. So she decided, well, now may be the time to read further directions. So she was pedaling it and doing good, but she didn't know how to speed the thing up. She let it run on its own for a little bit, but it wasn't going very fast, and she didn't know how to get more speed out of it. So she needed to go back and read directions. So she cut that trip short and went on back to the house. But that's a good example of she thought she could do well on this e-bike, and she can, but when she got on it, she understood she needed more information. Just like I did first time I went down the hill on a bicycle, I needed to know how the brakes work, but I didn't know that until I experienced it. Because I didn't know the questions to ask. But from your experience, you begin to figure out what kind of questions to ask. So paying attention to your experience has all kinds of benefits. All kinds. It's just where it's at. Listening within for the direction, because your own soul will provide it for you. And then gearing yourself up, doing what it takes to get ready for what you need to hear or see, and that you want to hear or see. And allow room for these things to come together. Reminds me of the Beatles song, Come Together, really catchy thing. They wrote some good stuff, really good. And it was only after years later that they began to reflect back and say, well, yeah, we were pretty good, weren't we? But they weren't thinking that at the time. They were busy growing. And for everyone to see. And they did some fantastic things and amazing people. And I've seen so many people do so many amazing things, individual. And it's because a person is discovering what they have to work with, and they're beginning to use more of that. They're preparing themselves to see more of who they are. That's the process. And the process precludes comparing yourself to anyone, because there's only one you. So hang up the foolishness of competing. Competing is good in certain ways, but there's no competition in understanding who you are, because you're unique and what you need to understand about yourself. Probably different than what somebody else needs to know about themselves. So don't waste time comparing yourself with anyone, because there's only one. There's only one. That's a good way to end this. Preparing myself to perceive. Perception is a big word. And I've gone into a higher phase of perception here in the last few years. And I think it was perception, chiefly through my experience with the healing class on Sundays while I was at the school, because I got practical experience of perceiving from a distance. And I learned through experience there's no distance between minds. When we offered healing to someone, this was a practice for us in the school. It was not part of the class, it was volunteer, and I volunteered. But I think I've learned more about perception through this practice of healing, because we were offering healing to anyone that requested it, and all we had to go on was their name and their address. And we would go directly to them mentally and perceive what is happening with them and offering them healing energy. But for the goodness of all concerned, not to force someone to do something, but giving them an option. And I'm still using this process today for myself and for others. But my chief focus is on preparing myself to receive, and at the present time, I'm downloading what I need to prepare myself for this upcoming fourth major life cycle, which I expect a lot out of, and it'll be the best one so far. I'm Winston Cunningham. I hope I said enough. I never know. Have a good day. Thank you for listening. Bye.